Thank you and welcome to the show this morning. The topic this morning is spirituality and self-esteem. And of course we have with us to talk about spirituality and self-esteem Dr. CPoe, who is a psychiatrist here in Nashville, Tennessee. And of course, Dr. Poe, let me welcome you to the show this morning.
Thank you very much.
And to tell you, Dr. Poe, how glad we are to have you here, and to remind you as well as our audience that you've been with us on a number of occasions, and each time that you're with us we get such rave reviews in terms of the information that you bring us that we're just forced to bring you back and to have you to talk about some additional topics. And I'm impressed and encouraged by the topic this morning, spirituality and low self-esteem. But before we get into that topic this morning, Dr. Poe, let's have you to give some information to members of our audience who might not know your background and your qualifications for doing and saying some of the things that you're involved in, and then we'll get into some of the issues associated with self-esteem, low or high self-esteem, and et cetera.
Dr. Haney, I'm a Christian psychiatrist in private practice here in Nashville, Tennessee. And I've been in private practice now, say, for about 5 years. I used to work for companies that provided psychological and psychiatric services for nursing home residents. I'm also, at the present time, acting coordinator of a group of persons who are interested in forming an institute for the study of racism and health. And by the way, a part of that effort involves the recent formation of a forgiveness group. And our goal there is to encourage people to work at developing or integrating forgiveness into their lifestyle. We think it has health benefits.
Very good. And of course, this issue that we're dealing with this morning, Dr. Poe, is the issue of self-esteem. And I think, as you've indicated, it can either be low self-esteem and high self-esteem, and if there's a choice, you would rather aim for high self-esteem. But I think the problem that we have is that so many people in today's society really don't feel good about themselves. They don't feel good. A large number of folks don't feel good about their gender. They don't feel good about themselves, period. And so let's have you to start us off by talking about this idea of spirituality and self-esteem and how you're able to integrate those concepts.
Right. Now, when I say spirituality, I mean one's relationship to God and the many ways that that will manifest itself. When I say self-esteem, I'm primarily thinking of it in two ways. The current definition of self-esteem essentially refers to how a person feels about themselves. However, I think self-esteem is a much broader reality than simply how a person feels about themselves. I see self-esteem as primarily a relationship or a condition of one's body, mind, spirit, a condition of one's relationship to God, others, oneself, and the environment. So self-esteem is really a much larger reality than simply how I feel about myself. As a matter of fact, most of us think of self-esteem as being a psychological kind of reality. I'm convinced that self-esteem is much more a spiritual reality than a psychological or a biological reality.
Now explain that. Go on.
Well, I believe that how I feel about myself is one expression of my true self-esteem. Another expression is how I treat other people. I think how I treat other people is a much better barometer of my self-esteem than simply how I feel about other people. Now, I think if we go a little further into the matter, we discover that my relationship to God is the basis of my self-esteem. In other words, if I've got a growing relationship with God, then in most cases, I'm going to have a healthy self-esteem. And I think healthy is better than high.
Very good.
And with a healthy self-esteem, which is a byproduct of a growing relationship with God, and a growing relationship with God is a byproduct of me trying to live the way God wants me to live. Now, if I'm trying to live the way God wants me to live, even though I may have had low self-esteem, the Spirit of God will overcome my low self-esteem and gradually move me to healthy self-esteem. At the same time, on the other hand, if I'm trying to live a life pleasing to God, but I've never really had a very, very low self-esteem because I grew up in